This video is sponsored by Full Reptile Collective, brought to you by Dan Hardy. Head over to their website at fullreptile.co.uk where you can find anything from training gear, t-shirts, hoodies, all the way to coffee. For an exclusive 10% off, use Dan Said So at checkout. Make sure to also check out their YouTube channel for some of the best MMA content out there, bar my own. Let's get back to the video. Alright guys, UFC London prelims, 4 from the bottom currently. Mokaev returning to London after his incredible debut into the UFC against Cody Durden, where he just ran the show, sub 1 minute, picked up Cody Durden, landed a knee, smashed him to the ground, guillotine choked him. Goodbye, Cody Durden. On to Charles Johnson, LFA champ, the guy that knocks out people in the 5th round. In his last fight, Charles Motta earned this UFC spot, and Aaron is the king of knowledge when it comes to Charles Johnson, and he's fought some real good guys. But what makes you think he's actually going to turn it on against Mokaev?
Let me tell you, I think this is going to be a hell of a fight. I will say that much. First and foremost, I fully respect Mokaev, one of the best amateur careers ever that you're going to see. This is not a normal 6-0. Charles Johnson coming off that win of a 6-0 Carlos Motta. This is a very different 6-0 here. Charles Johnson, a three-time defending LFA flyweight champion. That's a record he took over from Victor Altamirano. Beat some very good guys in there. The Yuma Horiuchi fight particularly was impressive to me. It was a split. I did not see it as a split. Charles Johnson, it dictates distance very well in the LFA cage, which is the same size as the Apex cage. He's used to fighting in this small cage. He's still able to implement his, length, his movement, and overall. That's the big difference. Mokaev is a much more compact, standard kind of sized flyweight. He uses that and gets his wrestling going, and didn't take any time against Cody Durden. I do think that this is a much better level of opponent here, but I fully respect Mokaev. But it's the route that Charles Johnson's taken to the UFC that's really impressed me. And for one, we've seen LFA flyweight champions before, and their route to get to UFC is going through the Contender Series. There is a reason why a 31-year-old Charles Johnson now is not having to prove himself through the Contender Series and being brought in here. I do believe that they are bringing him in here to lose to Mokaev. Mm-hmm. I believe both these guys are at least top 8 flyweights, if not higher. I think Mokaev has a much higher ceiling, obviously. He's 21 years old, all of the experience, next-gen MMA, all the above. But Charles Johnson is nothing to sneeze at here. St. Charles MMA, very good, obviously, but it's the Tiger Muay Thai Charles Johnson that has completely transformed him. And he's been able to go back to Thailand now to be able to train after COVID restrictions have been lifted. During the time, he worked more on his grappling with St. Charles MMA, which actually Loki has some great training partners like Lucas Clay, like Julian Lucas, and many, many others. So nothing to sneeze at over there. But being back in Thailand, he is a tremendous striker. He's a tremendous mover. He's a tactician. His nickname is the Inner G. And for a couple of reasons. He's got great cardio, but he also just kind of has that belief in himself that is pretty unshakable. I think both guys are going to have that. That's what makes this such a fascinating fight to me. I'm very curious, though, how much Mokaev's side knows what they're getting into. I do believe Charles Johnson's side wasn't going to take any shot here. Based on what I've heard from Charles Johnson, how he was approaching his later spot of his career, he wasn't in a rush to get to the UFC if it wasn't the right type of scenario here. Here you're going against a guy, Mokaev, who's been unblemished as an amateur, unblemished as a pro, might go unblemished as a pro for a long time, but he hasn't faced that adversity. I haven't seen him fight anybody like Charles Johnson exactly either, but Charles Johnson, we might find out, has never fought anybody like Mokaev here. For me, the reasons that I am giving Charles Johnson a chance in this fight, and a way better chance than the odds indicate, is because of the failures and the successes he's had. Mm-hmm. I feel that they've all played in together. Going the distance with a guy like Brandon Royval in LFA is a very telling type of spot there. He made those adjustments, went over to Tiger Muay Thai, St. Charles MMA with the grappling. I just believe that he has the ability to shock the world here. And that's all I'm saying. I'm putting the bet behind him because of where the odds are at, nearly a 4-1 underdog, and it's rising. I'm going to keep waiting. And I'm going to put a bet on Charles Johnson because I do feel that he can win a decision. I feel that the keys are movement and takedown defense and avoiding that at all costs. If he can convince Mokaev to get into a striking sort of battle, Charles Johnson's going to outstrike him. I'm telling you. And Charles Johnson is good at avoiding the damage, and it's just all about the takedowns for me of Mokaev. Mokaev gets him taken down, he's finishing him. So it's a huge, huge pressure for Charles Johnson. And I think that he's coming in here into London. This crowd's going to be there early. They're going to be ravenous for Charles Johnson or for Mokaev and against Charles Johnson. And one of my other worries is Charles Johnson's gotten into a little bit of 5-round mode. He's been in 5 straight 5-round fights. Cannot start slow here. He has to, from the beginning, be on his game, because if he's not, Mokaev's going to finish him in the first round. I have no problem admitting that. But I think this is a way better fight than people realize, especially over on your side of the pond.
Yeah,
I mean, over here, no one knows about him over here. No one knows about Charles Johnson. More people should know about Charles Johnson.
I agree with you. More people should know about him. 100%.
Yeah.
The only problem is with what you said is if Mokaev gets him down, he's finishing him.
Mm-hmm.
I think you'll get him down within 20 seconds.
Yeah.
And that's the difference. Mokaev's wrestling is a 125 Islam. He is explosive. He is stronger than the 145ers. He is a new breed. He's 21 years old and he's never been beaten in 30-odd fights. And the amateur background he's had, they're more or less pro fights towards the end. Unreal experience over in Brave in the Middle East. And
Yeah, absolutely.
What he did to Cody Durden, who is a very, very good wrestler. He's not a great mixed martial artist, but he's a very good wrestler. He just picked him up, slammed him. There is the explosivity in Mokaev. I'm not even going to touch on his striking because I agree with you. I think Charles Johnson is a better technician. I think he's a better technical boxer.
Absolute technician.
I think he's got more power. But Mokaev isn't going to even entertain it because he's so intelligent. He has taken no damage in 30-odd fights. How incredible. The guy's 21.
Can I just say, you said Islam Makhachev, though. And who did Islam Makhachev lose to?
Yeah, okay.
By KO.
Yeah.
So I'm
that's
just
because
saying.
that's because he wanted to strike with him. Mokaev is yeah.
I
agree with you.
Every 21-year-old's stupid.
No, not this one. This one's different. I honestly believe Mokaev is going to run all the way to a title shot without losing. I think he's already a top 5 fighter.
I just think it's a shame if he just runs through Charles Johnson here. I really hope we see.
It's a shame for Charles Johnson, but it's
and for Mokaev.
No, I don't think it is. I think you're throwing.
Yeah, I guess Mokaev's on his way to the top either way, but beating Charles Johnson, that's gonna show me a lot.
Big. I just hope Charles Johnson gets the respect he deserves. Even if he does lose, he gets another shot. It's not just bringing him.
He should
as a sacrificial lamb.
And if this gets on the feed and stays on the feed, it gets very, very interesting quickly.
Then it's Charles Johnson v. Cody Durden. That's
and so I mean, it's like, again, it's a value shot for me here too. A straight pick 'em. I'm picking Mokaev.
If there was no money on the line, who'd you pick?
Mokaev. That's what I'm saying. So I mean,
from a betting perspective,
not that this is that interesting to a viewer, but from my personal perspective of who I'm a fan of, I'm a huge fan of Mokaev. I'm a gigantic fan of Charles Johnson. He's one of my favorite guys in all of MMA. So that's, and I see a plus 400 on Charles Johnson. I can't.
And know what he can do. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You got to run with those sort of things.
I think it's going to be a great fight, and it's buried on the prelims here. Charles Johnson can sneak into London and shock the world here, and before anybody even knows it.
But he won't. That's all it is.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
we'll see. I hope Mokaev feels that way too. Mokaev's taken very lightly. Let's go, energy.
Sub 1 minute as well.
Charles, when you say no one believed you after your post fight, don't include me.
Lovely. I'd like to see the comments in this one.
Yeah, it's gonna be brutal.